All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into what it takes to become a lightboard operator.
Yeah. We're going to use some really awesome resources from RoleCatcher to help us out.
We've got career guides, sample interview questions
Even some AI tools,
that can help prep anyone for landing this kind of job.
which is a really cool blend of technical
Yeah,
know-how and artistic vision.
yeah. You're really like the right hand to the director,
Yeah.
bringing their vision to life with light and working with the whole crew.
It's really collaborative.
Exactly.
Then you're making these magical moments happen on stage.
Okay, so high pressure, but also incredibly creative.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
RoleCatcher has a database of actual interview questions that people have been asked.
Real questions
Yeah.
that have made or broken someone's chances in an interview. And we're going to try to break down some of the trickiest ones.
Awesome.
Are you ready?
Please do it.
Let's start with one that seems really basic but can actually trip people up. Describe your experience operating a light board.
Oh, I can see that.
Even if you are just starting out,
Yeah,
there are ways to make your answer really stand out.
I bet.
So instead of just listing the software you know or the number of shows you've worked on,
Right.
think about telling a story.
Oh,
Paint a picture for the interviewer
yeah.
that shows your passion for lighting and how you've learned and grown.
Oh, so instead of just saying, like, I'm familiar with ETCEO's software, I could say something like,
Yeah.
my first time using ETCEOs was during a volunteer gig at a community theater. I was blown away by how intuitive the software was and how much I could do with it. I quickly mastered the basics and even ended up programming the lights for a short play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Okay.
You've taken a simple answer and turned it into a compelling story
Right.
that shows your enthusiasm and initiative.
Yeah.
So even without tons of experience,
Right.
you've shown that you're eager to learn and you want to contribute.
Great tip.
Ah.
Wait, now what if they throw us a curveball
Uh,
and they ask a follow-up question?
Okay.
What were some of the challenges you faced while programming that play and how did you overcome them?
That's where having a specific anecdote in mind is really going to pay off.
Okay.
So think about a specific challenge that you faced.
Right.
Maybe a tricky lighting cue
Right.
or like a technical issue you had with the board itself.
Yeah.
And talk about how you tackled it.
Yeah.
Because that shows that you can handle pressure and think on your feet.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's move on to another question that RoleCatcher flagged as a really common one.
Okay.
How do you ensure the accuracy of lighting cues during a performance?
Ooh, good one.
Seems straightforward.
Yeah,
But I bet there's more to it than meets the eye.
definitely. This question is all about attention to detail.
Okay.
Your organization and your commitment to making sure the show runs flawlessly.
Yeah.
The interviewer wants to know that they can rely on you to make
Whoa.
sure everything's going smoothly.
So mentioning things like double-checking cue sheets, having a backup plan in place, and maybe even using visual aids to keep track of everything
Right.
would all be helpful, right?
Those are all excellent points.
Okay.
And don't forget to mention collaboration with the stage manager.
Right, because lighting cues
Yes.
happen when things are happening on stage.
Exactly.
So you need to know when those things are happening.
Yeah, lighting cues are often tied to specific actions on stage.
Right.
So clear communication is absolutely crucial.
So good. I can imagine a follow-up question could be like, can you give me an example of how you've collaborated with the stage manager to ensure accurate lighting cues?
Oh, I love that one. So think of a time when you caught a potential error before it happened.
Oh.
Maybe a cue that was out of sequence
Yeah.
or didn't quite match the stage action.
Oh, yeah.
Explain how you communicated with the stage manager
Right.
to clarify that cue and prevent a mistake during the show.
Right.
It shows that you're proactive and a team player.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've talked about organization, attention to detail, but what about those moments when things go wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Live theater can be a little unpredictable. How should we handle a question like, describe a time you had to troubleshoot a lighting issue during a performance?
Ooh, everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
What really matters is how you recover.
I like that.
So choose an incident where you identified the problem.
Okay.
You stayed calm under pressure,
Yeah.
and you found a solution quickly and efficiently,
Right.
working with your team.
So it's not just about fixing the problem. It's about how we communicate and collaborate during that process.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay. And I bet having like a concrete example in mind will make that answer so much more compelling and believable.
Definitely.
Okay. I'm starting to see how preparation is key.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out a bit for a second.
Okay.
For someone who's just starting out, how do they even get their foot in the door?
Great question.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions different stages in a light board operator's career.
It does. So typically you start by assisting senior operators,
Oh,
setting up equipment,
right.
programming those basic cues,
Yeah.
and shadowing the pros.
Okay.
It's like an apprenticeship
Like,
where you're soaking up all that knowledge
Yeah.
from the experts.
okay, so those early gigs are crucial for building a solid foundation.
Yes.
What comes next in the career journey?
So as you gain experience,
Right.
you'll start to operate the light board for smaller productions,
Okay.
like student shows,
Yeah.
community theater.
Okay.
You'll be collaborating directly with the designers and the performers,
Wow.
and even leading small technical crews.
That's a big jump in responsibility.
It is.
And I imagine that RoleCatcher's AI can help prepare for those more challenging interviews as we progress in our career.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher can analyze job descriptions for those higher level roles
Oh, wow.
and help you tailor your answers to highlight the specific skills and experience they're looking for.
That's really helpful.
It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
I love that. Okay, let's get back into those interview questions then.
Okay.
What other curveballs might they throw at us?
Well, they might ask you something like, what steps do you take to ensure the safety of the lighting rig and the people working around it?
Oh, safety first?
Yes, safety is paramount in this field.
Right.
They want to know that you take it seriously.
That makes sense.
Uh,
What are some key points we should hit in our answer?
think about things like regular equipment inspections,
Okay.
proper cable management,
Right.
knowing those emergency procedures,
Yeah.
and always communicating potential hazards to the team.
So being proactive and having a safety first mindset.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see how a follow-up question there could be something like, can you describe a time when you identified a safety hazard and took steps to address it?
Well, that's a good one.
What kind of story would really demonstrate that commitment to safety?
Think about a time when you spotted a potential issue,
Okay.
maybe a loose cable, or a fixture that wasn't properly secured.
Right.
Explain how you stopped what you were doing, address that hazard immediately,
Yeah.
and alerted the relevant people to ensure everyone's safety.
Right.
It shows that you are not afraid to speak up
Right.
and prioritize safety above all else.
That's a powerful message.
Okay.
Okay, we've covered safety, but what about those moments when we need to work really quickly under pressure?
Yes.
Like, what if they ask something like, how do you handle multiple lighting cues happening simultaneously, especially during a fast-paced scene change?
Ooh, this is all about showing you can think clearly under pressure.
Right.
And you can prioritize effectively.
Right.
Highlight your organizational skills,
Yeah.
how you stay focused,
Yeah.
and maybe even mention specific techniques you use to manage multiple cues at once.
So I could talk about how I, label and organize my cue sheets, use visual aids, or even, practice those tricky sequences in advance to make sure I can execute them flawlessly.
Exactly.
Okay, and if they ask a follow-up question like,
Yeah.
can you give an example of a time when you had to handle multiple cues simultaneously under pressure?
Yes.
We should be ready with a specific anecdote from a past production.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. I'm starting to feel like I can handle anything they throw at me.
Good.
But there's one more thing I'm curious about.
Okay.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions that lightboard operators can sometimes move into lighting design roles.
Yes.
Is that a common career path?
It is.
Okay.
A lot of lightboard operators develop this keen eye for design
Yeah.
and eventually transition into actually designing the lighting for
Wow.
productions themselves. It's a natural progression
Yeah.
for people who are passionate about the artistic side of lighting.
That's so cool. So this role could be like a stepping stone to a whole new career path.
It could be.
And I bet having a tool like RoleCatcher could be so helpful for navigating that transition.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you identify those skills and experience you need to make that move. Tailor your resume and cover letter to specific lighting design roles,
Right.
and even connect you with potential mentors in the field.
That's amazing. It sounds like RoleCatcher can be such a valuable tool throughout our entire career journey.
Yes, it can.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay.
What other challenging questions should we be prepared for?
They might ask you about your experience with specific lighting equipment.
Oh, okay.
For example, they could ask something like, what are some of the different types of lighting fixtures you've worked with, and what are their unique characteristics?
That makes sense after all. A lightboard operator needs to be familiar with a wide range of equipment.
Yes.
What's the best way to approach this kind of question?
Don't just list the fixtures that you've used.
Okay.
Think about their functions and their applications
Right.
and how you've used them creatively
Okay.
to achieve specific effects.
So instead of just saying, I've used ellipsoidal spotlights, I could say something like,
Okay.
I love using ellipsoidal spotlights for their precise beam control. They're perfect for highlighting specific actors or objects on stage and creating dramatic shadows and contrasts.
Exactly. You've taken a simple answer and turned it into a showcase
Nice.
of your knowledge and understanding of lighting techniques.
Okay, so it's all about going beyond the basics and demonstrating our passion and expertise.
It is.
Cool. Okay, we've covered different types of fixtures, but what about those moments when we need to make quick decisions during a performance?
Okay.
Like, what if they ask something like, describe a time when a lighting cue didn't go as planned, and how did you handle the situation?
That's another opportunity to highlight your problem-solving skills
Okay.
and how you stay calm under pressure.
Right.
Choose a specific incident
Yeah.
where you had to think on your feet
Okay.
and find a creative solution
Got it.
to keep that show running smoothly.
Right. So it's not about pretending we've never made a mistake.
No.
It's about showing how we learn from those experiences
Yeah.
and become even more resourceful and adaptable.
Exactly.
Okay. And I bet having a concrete example in mind will make our answers so much more engaging and believable.
For sure.
All right. I'm starting to feel like I can handle anything they throw at me.
Good.
But before we move on, I want to touch on something we discussed earlier about RoleCatcher's AI capabilities.
Okay.
You mentioned it can analyze job descriptions and help us tailor our answers to specific roles.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Of course. So RoleCatcher's AI algorithms are trained on a massive data set of job descriptions and interview responses. And this allows it to identify the key skills, the keywords and phrases that employers are looking for in specific roles.
Good.
And it can suggest ways to incorporate those elements into your answers.
So it's like having a personal resume expert and an interview coach all rolled into one.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It can even suggest alternative phrasing
Okay.
or provide examples of successful interview responses
Well,
for similar roles.
so it's helping us refine our answers and make them more impactful.
Exactly.
Wow, that's incredibly helpful. It sounds like RoleCatcher can be a total game changer for anyone who's preparing for a job interview,
Yeah,
especially in a field that's as specialized as lighting design.
for sure.
Okay, let's get back to those interview questions.
Okay.
What other challenges might we face?
Well, they might want to dig deeper into your understanding of lighting design principles.
Okay.
For example, they could ask something like, what are some of the key considerations when designing the lighting for a theatrical production?
Oh, that's a good one. It really gets to the heart of, like, the artistic side of lighting.
It does.
What are some of the essential elements we should mention in our answer?
Think about things like visibility,
Okay.
focus mood composition.
Okay.
How do you use light to create different atmosphere,
Lovely.
highlight key elements on stage,
Yeah.
guide the audience's attention?
So I could talk about using different color temperatures to create a sense of warmth or coolness, using shadows and highlights to add depth and dimension, or using gobos to project patterns and textures onto the stage.
Exactly. And if they ask a follow-up question,
Okay.
like, can you give me an example of how you've used lighting to create a specific mood or atmosphere in a past production?
Oh, yeah.
Be ready to discuss a scene or a moment that showcases your creativity
Yeah.
and your understanding of lighting design.
I love that it's all about bringing those abstract concepts to life
Yeah,
with concrete examples from our own experience.
exactly.
Okay, so we've covered lighting design principles, but what about those moments when things don't go according to plan?
Mm-hmm.
What if they ask, describe a time when you had to make a last-minute adjustment to the lighting during a performance?
Oh, this is another chance to showcase your problem-solving skills
Okay.
and your ability to adapt to those unexpected situations.
Yeah.
Choose an incident where you had to think quickly and creatively
Okay.
to resolve maybe a technical issue. Yeah.
Or accommodate a change in the performance.
So it's not about being perfect,
No.
but about showing how we can handle those unexpected challenges
Yes.
and keep the show running smoothly.
Exactly. And remember, having a specific anecdote in mind
Yeah.
is going to make your answer much more engaging
Right.
and believable.
All right. I'm starting to feel like I can handle anything they throw at me.
Good.
But before we move on, I want to touch on something we discussed earlier about RoleCatcher's AI capabilities.
Okay.
You mentioned that it can provide personalized feedback on our interview performance.
It can.
Can you elaborate on how that works?
Of course. So RoleCatcher's AI-powered interview feedback tool
Okay.
allows you to record yourself answering those common interview questions,
Oh, cool.
and then the AI will actually analyze your video
Wow.
and give you insights into your delivery, your content, and your overall presentation.
So it's like having a virtual interview coach who can provide objective and tailored feedback
Yes.
on our strengths and weaknesses. It can analyze your body language,
Wow.
your tone of voice, your pacing,
Okay.
even your facial expressions.
Really?
And it provides you with specific suggestions for improvement.
That's incredible. Imagine being able to identify any nervous habits
Yeah,
or areas where we might need to adjust our nonverbal communication.
exactly.
It's like having a secret weapon
It is.
in our interview arsenal.
Practice with RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools.
Yeah.
You can really refine that interview technique,
Right.
boost your confidence,
Oh.
and make sure you're presenting yourself in the best possible light.
This is all incredibly helpful. I'm feeling much more prepared to tackle those interview questions now.
Good.
But before we move on, I want to quickly revisit one of RoleCatcher's other AI capabilities.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that it can help us tailor our resumes and cover letters to specific job descriptions.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that feature a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Right.
RoleCatcher's AI algorithms are trained on this vast database of resumes and job descriptions,
Right.
allowing it to identify those keywords, the skills, the experience
Yeah.
that employers are looking for
Yeah.
in those specific roles.
Okay.
It can suggest specific changes to your resume and cover letter.
So it's like having a personal resume writer
It is.
who knows exactly what employers are looking for.
It can even analyze the specific language and tone
Oh, wow.
used in the job description,
Right.
and suggest ways to mirror those elements in your own writing,
Wow.
so that your application is even more appealing.
That's incredibly valuable. Imagine being able to pinpoint exactly which skills and experiences are most in demand for a particular role, and then tailor our application materials to reflect those qualifications.
It can make all the difference in getting your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And by combining RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools with your thorough preparation and a genuine passion for lighting design,
Yeah.
you'll be well on your way to landing your dream job.
This deep dive into the world of lightboard operator interviews has been truly eye-opening.
Good.
We've covered so much ground,
We have.
from mastering those technical skills to navigating all those tricky interview questions, from understanding the importance of collaboration
Yeah.
to harnessing the power of AI with tools like RoleCatcher. I'm feeling so much more confident and prepared to take on the challenge.
That's great to hear. Remember, preparation is key.
Yeah.
And with the right tools and the right mindset,
Yeah.
you can illuminate that interview room and shine brighter than any spotlight.
I love that. Okay, you've given us a lot to think about.
I know, right?
Let's take a quick breather, and then we'll come back with even more insights and strategies for acing that lightboard operator interview.
Okay, so let's jump back into those interview scenarios.
Okay.
Remember, being a lightboard operator, it's about more than just technical skills.
Right.
Interviewers, they want to see if you're a good fit for the team and for their company culture.
Right. Personality fit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of question might they ask to gauge our personality and how we'd fit in with the team?
They might ask something like, describe your ideal working environment. What kind of team dynamic do you thrive in?
Okay.
It's a chance to show that you're not just like a tech whiz.
Right.
You're a team player.
Right. It's not enough to just, know the software.
Right.
You got to be able to work with people.
You got it.
So we shouldn't just say, I like working with nice people.
No.
What are they really looking for with this kind of question?
They want to see if you value things like collaboration,
Okay.
communication,
Right.
a positive work environment.
Yeah.
Think about what's important to you in a team dynamic
Okay.
and how you contribute to making that a healthy dynamic.
So I could say something like, I thrive in environments where everyone's passionate about their work and we can openly share ideas and support each other. I'm a strong communicator and I'm always willing to lend a helping hand.
Exactly.
Okay.
You've shown them that you're not just there to punch the clock. You genuinely care about the team
Yeah.
and the work that you do together.
That's a good point.
Now, what if they follow that up
Okay.
with a question like, can you give an example of a time when you had to resolve a conflict or disagreement within a team?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
What kind of story would really demonstrate our ability to handle those tricky situations?
Think about a time when you had a difference of opinion,
Right.
maybe with a colleague,
Yeah.
about a technical approach
Okay.
or a creative decision.
Right.
Explain how you listened to their perspective,
Right.
communicated your own point of view respectfully,
Yeah.
and worked together to find a solution.
Right. Compromise.
Yes,
That benefited the whole team.
exactly.
Okay. So it's about showing we can handle those conflicts maturely and find constructive solutions.
Exactly. It also shows your leadership potential.
Oh,
Speaking of leadership,
okay.
interviewers might ask about your experience mentoring or training others.
Okay.
So even if you haven't held a formal leadership role, right, think about times when you've shared your knowledge
Yeah.
or helped colleagues learn new skills.
So even if we're early in our career,
Yeah,
we've probably had opportunities to teach or guide other people.
probably.
What if they ask something like, have you ever had to train someone on how to use a light board or a particular software program?
Oh, I love that one.
What kind of story would showcase our teaching abilities?
Think about a time when you helped a colleague maybe troubleshoot a problem,
Right.
or you explained a really complex concept,
Okay.
or you patiently guided someone through a new process.
Right.
Highlight your communication skills,
Right.
your ability to break down that complex information,
Okay.
and your willingness to share your expertise
Right.
with others.
So it's not just about knowing the technical stuff.
No,
It's about explaining it to other people,
it is.
clearly and effectively.
Yes.
I can see how that's valuable.
Now remember, RoleCatcher's AI
Yes.
can be such a huge help
Okay.
in preparing for these types of questions. Right.
It can analyze sample answers
Right.
for similar roles
Okay.
and provide feedback on your own responses,
That's great.
helping you refine your delivery and make sure you're hitting all those key points.
That's amazing. It's like having a personalized interview coach right there in our pocket.
It is.
Okay, let's wise back into those interview questions.
Okay.
What other curveballs might they throw at us?
Well, they might want to get a sense of your problem-solving abilities
Okay.
and how you handle those unexpected situations.
Oh, right. Those curveballs,
Yeah.
those things you don't plan for.
Right.
So what might they ask?
They could ask you something like, describe a time when you had to think outside the box to solve a technical challenge during a production.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah,
It really tests our ability to stay calm and resourceful.
it does.
So what kind of story would really impress them?
Think about a time when you faced a technical glitch
Okay.
or a last-minute change
Yeah.
that required you to improvise.
And come up with a creative solution.
Okay.
Explain the problem, your
Okay.
thought process,
Got it.
the actions you took,
Right.
and that successful outcome.
So it's not just about fixing the problem.
No.
It's about showcasing our ability to think critically,
Yes.
adapt quickly,
Yeah.
find those innovative solutions.
And be resourceful.
And I bet having that concrete example
It helps.
will make the answer much more engaging.
It will.
Okay.
Now, here's a question
Yep.
that often comes up in these technical interviews.
Okay.
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I've always struggled with that one. How do you answer that honestly?
Right. You want to be honest,
Yeah.
but you also want to present yourself
Right.
in the best light.
Yeah. What's the best way to approach it?
So when discussing your strengths,
Okay.
focus on skills
Right.
and qualities that are relevant to the role.
Huh.
Things like attention to detail,
Right.
organization,
Yeah.
problem-solving abilities,
Yeah.
teamwork. Those are always good to highlight.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about our weaknesses?
Okay.
Do we have to air our dirty laundry?
Choose a weakness that's real,
Okay.
but also something that you are actively working to improve.
Oh, okay. I see.
For example, you could say, I sometimes get so focused on the technical details that I forget to take breaks. But I'm learning to manage my time more effectively and build in those short breaks to avoid burnout.
That's a great example. You've acknowledged a weakness,
Yeah.
but also turned it into a positive by showing you're self-aware
Right.
and committed to growth.
Exactly. Now remember, RoleCatcher's AI
Yes.
can be helpful with this question too.
Oh, great.
It can analyze your responses
Okay.
and suggest ways to frame your strengths and weaknesses more effectively
Wow.
for specific roles.
That's so cool. It's like having a personal branding expert on our side.
It is.
Okay. Let's get back to those interview questions.
Huh.
What other tricky ones should we be prepared for?
Well, they might want to gauge your commitment to the field
Okay.
and what your long-term goals are.
Yeah.
They could ask you something like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, the classic.
The classic.
But it can be so tough to answer, especially when we're just starting out and still exploring our options.
Right.
What's the best way to approach that one?
Be honest
Okay.
about your aspirations, but
Uh-huh.
also show them that you're open to learning and growing
Right.
within that company.
Right.
You could mention that you're interested in moving into maybe a lighting design role.
Right. Or taking on more responsibility
Yeah.
within the technical department.
Exactly.
So showing ambition, but also a willingness to learn and contribute to the company's success.
Yeah.
And I bet we could use RoleCatcher's career guide to kind of research those potential career paths.
Yes.
And get a better sense of what's out there.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher can give you valuable insight
Cool.
into those industry trends,
Okay.
salary expectations, the skills and experience needed for all those different roles.
So it's a great resource for planning that whole journey.
It is.
Okay, this is all incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the importance of asking our own questions.
Oh, yes.
During the interview, it's not just about answering their questions.
Right.
It's about gathering information
It is.
and showing that we're genuinely interested in the job.
It's a two-way street.
Hey.
So asking those thoughtful questions shows you're engaged,
Yeah.
curious, and proactive.
Okay, what kind of questions would really impress them?
Ask about their upcoming productions,
Oh, okay.
their creative process,
Yeah.
their technical setup,
Okay.
even their company culture.
I like it.
You could ask something like, what are some of the most exciting technical challenges you've faced in recent productions?
Oh, good.
Or how about, how does your team approach collaboration and communication during the design and rehearsal process?
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
They show that we're not just looking for any job, that we're specifically interested in their company and their work.
And it gives you valuable information, too.
Right, we're figuring out if we're going to be happy there.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but I'm sure there's like a million other interview questions we could explore.
Oh, tons.
What other insights do you have for us?
Remember, every interview is unique.
Right.
And there's no way to predict
Yeah.
every single question you'll be asked.
Right.
But by preparing thoroughly,
Okay.
practicing your answers,
Right.
and using tools like RoleCatcher
Yeah.
to refine your approach,
Okay.
you can really increase those chances of success.
That's such a good point. It's not about memorizing scripts.
No.
It's about building our confidence
Right.
and showcasing those skills and passion
Exactly.
for this job.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take another quick breather,
Okay.
and then we'll come back with even more tips and strategies for acing that lightboard operator interview.
Okay, so let's wrap up our deep dive into lightboard operator interviews with a few final tips to help you really shine.
Awesome. I'm all ears. We've covered so much already, but I'm always up for more advice.
One thing that I think often gets overlooked
Okay.
is the importance of researching the company
Right.
or the organization that you're interviewing with.
Okay, so you mean going beyond just glancing at their website.
Yes.
What kind of research would really impress them?
Dig a little deeper.
Okay.
Look into their past productions,
Right.
their mission statement, their values.
Okay.
See if you can find any interviews with their staff or reviews of their shows.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It shows that you're genuinely interested
Yeah.
and that you've taken the time to understand their work.
Right. It's about showing them we're not just looking for any job. We're interested in their company
Exactly.
and how they do things.
And speaking of showing genuine interest,
Yeah.
one of the best ways to do that
Okay.
is by asking thoughtful questions during the interview.
We touched on that a little bit earlier, but I'm eager to hear more about what kind of questions would really make us stand out.
Think about questions that demonstrate your knowledge of the field,
Okay.
your curiosity about their specific work,
Right.
and your desire to learn and grow.
Right.
You could ask something like, what are some of the biggest challenges and rewards of working as a lightboard operator at your company?
Okay.
Or what opportunities are there for professional development and advancement within the technical department?
Those are great questions. They show that we're not just looking for a job, but we're thinking about our long-term career goals
Yes.
and how we can contribute to the company's success.
Exactly. And remember asking questions.
Yeah.
It's also a chance for you to gather information
Right.
and decide if this is the right fit for you.
It's a two-way street.
It is.
We're not just trying to impress them.
No.
We're also figuring out if we want to work there.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something that can really make a difference in your interview performance. Practicing your answers.
Oh, yeah. I know practice makes perfect. But it can feel kind of awkward talking to yourself in the mirror.
It can.
Any tips for making those practice sessions more effective?
Try recording yourself answering common interview questions.
Okay.
And then watch the playback.
Oh.
It can be really eye-opening.
Okay.
You might notice some nervous habits
Oh, yeah.
or like little verbal tics that you weren't aware of before.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Hmm.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI-powered interview practice tool could be really helpful here.
It can.
It analyzes our video recordings
Yes.
and gives us personalized feedback.
It does.
That's awesome.
It can assess the content of your answers
Okay.
and suggest ways to make them more concise,
Right.
more impactful,
Right.
and more tailored to the specific role.
That's amazing. It's like having a virtual interview coach who can pinpoint areas for improvement and help us refine our technique.
Exactly. And speaking of refining your technique, one final tip I'd offer is to pay attention to your nonverbal communication.
Oh, you mean things like body language and eye contact?
Yes.
Okay.
Make eye contact with the interviewer.
Right.
Sit up straight.
Okay.
And project confidence.
Right.
And enthusiasm.
Okay.
Those nonverbal cues can speak volumes about your interest and engagement.
That's such a good reminder. It's not just about what we say, but how we present ourselves.
That's right.
Okay, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
I'm feeling much more prepared and confident about tackling those lightboard operator interviews.
That's wonderful to hear. Remember, preparation is key.
Yeah.
By researching the company,
Okay.
practicing your answers,
Right.
and showcasing your passion and skills.
Right.
You'll be well on your way to landing that dream job.
This has been such an insightful and empowering conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gained so much valuable knowledge
Good.
and practical strategies
You did.
that will not only help me ace my next interview, but also navigate my entire career journey.
That's what we like to hear.
In the world of theatrical lighting.
That's exactly what we hope to achieve.
Awesome.
Remember, you have the power to illuminate the stage and create magical moments for audiences.
I love that.
Now go out there and let your light shine.
To all you aspiring lightboard operators out there, break a leg. And remember, RoleCatcher is here to support you every step of the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.